If I asked you this question before LeBron got injured and they're getting ready to go play Boston, I think it was a very meaningful and fair conversation to say, whatever the West looks like, Lakers are one of the few teams that I think can really, really make some noise and come out of the Western Conference. As we sit here Friday, March 28th, part of it has to do with the injuries. Players are back. They're trying to work their way back. Part of it has to do with not good basketball. Part of it has to do with teams getting a chance now to kind of see what were the Lakers doing during that stretch where they were having success. How can we counter that? As we sit here right now, what are just how have your expectations maybe changed a little bit over the course of the last couple of weeks? And how much do you think this is just about getting through the regular season and the Lakers are still a really dangerous playoff team? And how much of it do you think is, hey, if there isn't real noise made this year, they're clearly going to need that summer to kind of retool some things to try to put together a roster where all the puzzle pieces fit?
Yeah, I think that they were rolling, and then injuries hit, and that kind of knocked them off. And then players coming back from injury, they were able to recover a bit there. Now they dropped some games. You were missing. There was a point where they're missing just about everybody, right? But the injuries really disrupted, I think, their chemistry. They're kind of building a rapport out there on the court, and so now they're trying to rediscover that they had and reintegrating those players when it's LeBron, when it's Rui, all these other guys that were out due to injury coming back in. Jackson Hayes was out for a bit. Now they're trying to rebuild what they had, and the clock is ticking. There's just not that much time left in the season. So I think most of it comes down to the defense. They were playing really, really high-level defense. That was their bread and butter. That was how they were winning games, was with the defensive side of the ball, which is a surprise. Wasn't what we expected out of this group after you trade Anthony Davis for Luka, for their defense to actually get better, and yet somehow it did. They were rotating well. They were really competing on that end of the floor, and I thought in the second and the third quarter last night, they did that. It fell to pieces in the fourth, and they completely lost their minds. But we've got a team that desperately needs to rediscover that. And that was always the challenge, with making a big trade at the trade deadline, was it doesn't give you a lot of time to build the chemistry that's necessary, because come playoff time, any little mistake, guys are off a little bit just because they don't have enough familiarity with each other. They don't have enough hours on the court together, which, by the way, I would assume, I don't believe the Lakers have practiced in the month of March, or if they have, maybe it was once, because it's just been such a jam-packed schedule. So they're trying to rediscover this without having much of an opportunity to do it. And they're going to be playing playoff basketball where any mistake gets magnified. That's a tough situation to be in. So it's not just about the seeding. It's also about, and that is obviously important to watch here now, because of what they did last night, they've put themselves in a situation where suddenly the play-in is more possible. And that's certainly a dangerous thing. Rui already talked about how important it is that they not be in the play-in so they can get that rest that they need.
Gotta get
almost
that
a week off. You got to get it. So now they put themselves in a really tough spot with that. But on top of that, it's discovering their quality of play, their chemistry, especially their defensive identity, and just they don't have a whole lot of runway to do it. So if they don't do that, Alan, if they don't find a way back to where they were, say, a month ago, their stay in the playoffs will be short-lived, because they're making enough mistakes that come playoff time, they're going to get magnified. Teams are going to pick on those things, and that will ultimately send them home. So they've got to not only try to win some games to stay afloat in the standings, but they've got to figure out a way to play better team basketball like they were, say, a month ago. And again, they have a very limited amount of time to do it. It may be that it simply takes getting into next season for this team, for this group, in terms of their core pieces, to have enough experience together to hit the level that they need to be at. But we'll see. Again, I thought they were playing at a very, very high level about a month ago. I thought that they looked very dangerous. I thought they were a team that nobody was going to want to see in the Western Conference. It was very exciting. And it seems like that has kind of fallen apart since we've had guys coming back from injury, and since really the injuries hit altogether. They've lost some of what their identity is, and the key is going to be rediscovering that.
What's the portion that I get optimistic on is I don't really know what the West is. I mean, I really, I think I've kind of accepted and settled in on the Oklahoma City Thunder are a really, really good team and are going to continue to get disrespected until they win a round.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, until they get to the NBA Finals, I would say. But I also am not going to sit here and no one should be surprised or shocked that the Thunder run through the West. You just shouldn't. I mean, that's how good they are. They play phenomenal defense. You could say, well, do they have enough experience? And you can question the Thunder as much as you want, but if we get to June and they're in the NBA Finals and they just went through the West like it was nothing, no one should be surprised or shocked. After the Thunder, it seems like every team's got a question mark.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the piece that if you told me the Lakers got Memphis in the first round, do you know what? Do you have this unbelievable wavering confidence in the Memphis Grizzlies? Do you? And I'm just using them as an example.
Sure.
Doesn't it feel like Denver's not the exact same team that they've been? And what happens in the postseason, we'll see. Is Minnesota a team that you're like, yeah, watch out for them? And I'm not telling you these teams aren't talented and they don't have great players. But doesn't it feel like you could kind of dissect every team in the West and everybody's got a little bit of a question mark as well?
Yeah, big time. It's funny because, the past couple of years, Alan, the Lakers have been like the 9 seed right around this time of year. And they go on this run and they keep winning and winning and winning. And we're watching the standings and we're like, God, they're not moving. They're winning and winning and winning. And they're stuck. Why? Because everyone in the West is winning. That's not been the case this year. In fact, over the last couple of weeks, most Western Conference teams have faltered. Now, not the Houston
500.
Rockets.
Yeah.
Not the Clippers have started winning. The Warriors have started winning. The Wolves have started winning at a higher rate. But you look at the Nuggets, you look at the Lakers, you look at the Grizzlies, they're all faltering at the same. And you could say, what a missed opportunity by the Lakers. They could be comfortably the 3 seed right now, very easily be sitting in the 3 seed and be, fairly relaxed in the 3 seed. They'd have a couple game lead on that, had they won some games. But yeah, there's a lot of question marks around all of these teams in the West right now. It's in terms of who's behind OKC, it's anybody's guess. Anybody could win any playoff series. The Lakers could beat the Grizzlies in a playoff series. The Grizzlies could beat the Lakers. Same thing with the Nuggets. Same thing with the Rockets, the Clippers. Every team poses their challenges, but you've got a whole bunch of teams. And this is kind of what we thought the West would be, but you've got a whole bunch of teams that are very, very close in terms of quality and who happens to be playing their best basketball, who is peaking at the right moment, is probably ultimately going to determine who goes through.
If I said, let's take the Lakers out of it here for a quick second, and let's just assume every team is healthy and don't pay attention to the standings. If I said, give me the 2 or 3 most dangerous teams in the West healthy, take Lakers out of it. Who are you putting there? And I'm just curious to see if your confidence is in a team like Houston, who's playing great ball right now, or is it more with a team like the Warriors, who been there, done it? They added Jimmy Butler. Give me 2-3 teams in the West that you're saying, okay, this is an issue in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think. The Warriors have staff.
Do you believe in the Clippers?
Not really.
I don't either. And here they are. They're playing good ball.
And they're playing good basketball, and they've played great defense. I don't know. Like, the problem with the Clippers is you never know when that Kawhi injury is going to come. And he's been playing great lately, and I hope it doesn't happen because I never want to see players injured. But that's been the history for them. It's been, every time when they go, oh, okay, the Clippers are looking dangerous. Up there goes Kawhi, right? Like that seems to happen. But Golden State with Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, that could be concerning. Just when you've got 3 guys who've played at a playoff level, right? We think about the Houston Rockets. Playoff basketball is a different thing, right? There's a jump from summer league to preseason. There's a jump from preseason to regular season. There's a big jump from regular season to playoff basketball. And with Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, you've got 3 guys who know playoff basketball. I don't know if there's enough guys who you could say that about on Houston right now. So that's where maybe the Warriors get a little bit of an edge. Maybe Denver gets a little bit of an edge, though. I think their defense is awful, and that will ultimately be their undoing as well. So the Warriors are a team that I look at and say, okay, that could be, a difficult team to deal with come playoff time. That could be a team that could really make a run. That's a team that could step it up for the postseason. I like Houston a lot. I like their defense. I like the way that they play. I just worry if there's a lack of experience that might rear its ugly head come playoff time with them. Denver, if they can't get to, they're playing defense at like they're the bottom third of the NBA right now. If they can't get better than that, they're not going to win in the playoffs. That's the way that's going to go. They'll probably go home in the second round or something, even with Jokic, unless they can rediscover at least some type of league average defensive efficiency. But I think the Warriors are the team that I'm most keeping an eye on. Although I also wouldn't write off. It's strange because these are not the teams at the top. I wouldn't write off the Wolves because I also think defense matters so much come playoff time, and that's a team that is capable of playing very high level defense, and so that's a team that I also wouldn't write off as potentially being a tough out for somebody.
But I think that says it all. I think that was kind of what I don't think the standings necessarily represent the most dangerous teams. I don't know what's going to happen with Houston. I don't know what Memphis is. Denver has, even in the games Lakers have played Denver, they're just not the same team. I mean, that's the best way that I can put it. And even teams that, what's Luka look like in a set against Minnesota? What's Luka look like in a set against the Clippers? What's Luka look like in a set against against Denver? There's certain teams that he's played really well against. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.